Hey guys, in this video I'm going to go over my favorite Docker setup for local WordPress development. What's really cool about this is it's really fast to spin up a WordPress site and have it with a custom URL, so like mysite.local and SSL. So this just gives you a really nice development environment for working on themes, plugins, anything like that. If you're used to MAMP Pro or Local by Flywheel, it's just another alternative to that, but I find that using Docker for this just makes it super easy and configurable, and it's just a really nice experience. So I'm going to put the link to this repo in the description. You can just go there and download it. You'll see there is some required setup, so you'll want Docker Desktop, which you can just grab here. It's just a GUI installation, and then Mkcert, which is just a utility that creates SSL certificates. So if you don't have it, you'll just do brew install. Otherwise, if you check it with this, you may already have it. I know I already did actually from doing some other projects. So you can run that and see if it's already installed on your computer. So once you've got Docker and Mkcert installed, you can go ahead and open up the project. With Docker, you can open up this dashboard and see I cleared out my containers so we can have a fresh start here. So now we've opened up the project. So first off, we've got this env file. This is where we really define all the variables in our setup. Not a ton to do. You can just name your Docker container, give it whatever custom domain you want. And then this setup you may recognize is basically what you would have in your WP config file. So this just gets used to set up the database and hook it to WordPress so that you don't have to do any of that manually. So let's jump over to our Docker Compose. This is where everything happens. Nginx is what allows us to have our custom domain, as well as kind of setting up the SSL. So this corresponds over here. You've got a configuration file. You shouldn't ever have to touch this. It's basically just telling it, hey, listen on these ports and forward it to our custom domain. Then certs is where our SSL certs will go. You've got a folder for that. It may not appear if you just download it fresh and haven't run anything yet, but when we run our little setup scripts, it'll generate the certs. For MySQL, again, it's just plugging in all those variables, so you don't have to actually mess with anything here. It's all ready for you to go. If you have an M1 Mac, MySQL doesn't actually have an image for that yet, so we just want to specify, hey, use this platform tag, and then it'll run it through the emulator. So I'm going to uncomment that real quick. Then we've got WordPress. Again, it just plugs in these things. The cool part is it makes a WordPress folder that will just be mapped to the WordPress install. And if you want, you could even say, hey, I don't want to mess with the core files, so just map it instead to WP content/themes. And then you could just put your custom theme in there and you wouldn't have that visibility into the core files. I'm going to leave it how it is for now. Then you've got these configs. This is over here, and this just has, for WordPress, it's this file, and you can customize some of these upload size and things like that. And for PHP, it's the other file in there with a couple more options. And PHPMyAdmin, same thing. It's going to hook up to the database totally automatically here, and then we just map it to port 8080. So you should really never have to touch this other than maybe uncommenting that one line if you're on an M1 Mac. So then this is the cool part. In Cli, there's some scripts that set up our host file and certs for us. Again, you never have to touch this, but what we're going to do is just cd into the Cli folder, and we're going to run bash add host. It's going to ask for the password. This is going to add an entry to my site.local. You can see I've actually done it before. So we've done that, and then we're going to run bash create cert. You can see I've also run that before, but this may ask for your password too, and it'll just create SSL certificates and trust them. So now they're right there. And so once you've run those two scripts, we're ready to get into Docker. So all you have to do is just back out of the Cli folder and run docker compose up. This might take a while. If it's your first time, it has to download all those images. I've already got them, so it's going to be pretty quick. And then what you can see is that it's gone ahead and created this WordPress folder. It's going ahead and copying in all the WordPress core files. And DB is actually our MySQL. So you've got access to all those files right there. And then if we go over here, we can see our Docker image is up and running. It's got all of our services. These little flags are just, again, because I have the M1 Mac, so it's just giving a warning, but I haven't actually had any real issues with that. So this is going to take just a minute to actually finish copying everything over and setting up. It'll spit out a bunch of info here, but let's go ahead and let's see. It looks like it's completed that. Let's go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to open up a window here and go to https://mysite.local, the domain that I set up there. And there we go. WordPress is already in there and we're good to go. And if we check out, as a bonus, if we go to localhost port 8080, you can see phpMyAdmin is running. We can log in here again using our .env config. So let's go ahead and just put in, I have user and password. Boom, and now we're in there and you'll see we've got this My App database, which is what I named it in that env. And if we go ahead and do a quick install here, you can see it's going ahead and installing. And there we go, it's been installed. And if we jump back over here and refresh or open up, we can see there's all of our WordPress info. And if we jump in here, we can see everything is already set up. It's all good to go. There's no going into the database and hooking it up, going into the config, the WP config file. It's all just set up and ready to go from running that Docker Compose up. So this is a really good way to just get a test site up quickly if you want to just do a custom theme or work on a plugin. This makes it super quick and easy, and then you can always manage in this Docker panel. It's really easy to just start and stop sites. So I can stop it there. I don't have to be running it in the terminal if I don't want to. Then I can just spin it up again. It's super easy. So I really like this setup. And I hope this video was useful. Feel free to grab the starter files from the link in the description and customize them however you need to.